Hey everyone, I hope that you are having a great day. So before we jump into part 4 of What If Ahsoka Trained Ben Solo, I want to ask for your feedback. So the way that I've been doing these fan fictions, I've kind of been highlighting some of the dialogue and telling it as a written out narrative. But in this one I've changed it up a little bit. I kept dialogue between characters in the first scene. Dialogue that I thought was important and cool to see. But then after that, I kind of started narrating and walking through the story in more of a highlighted, here's what happened way. So let me know if you enjoy either one of these more than the other, if you prefer that I write out dialogue, or if you prefer kind of the narrative, give you the bullet point what happens way. So let me know in the comments below, but with that, let's jump in to What If Ahsoka Trained Ben Solo Part 4. The dark figure moved to remove his hood. Ben was on edge. He didn't know who this was, but he didn't like their confidence in approaching him, especially after they witnessed what he had just done to the Transdoshan dock workers. The figure's hood fell to reveal a man with short dark hair and a scar on his left cheek. His blue eyes were friendly, but Ben could see that there was darkness in them. Something was familiar about this man. "Who are you?" Ben asked. "Someone like you," the man answered. This was not the answer Ben was looking for. He knew that he needed to know this man's identity. "I know who you're looking for, and let me say, he can't help you." Ben was frustrated by this man's matter-of-fact tone. "How would you know?" Ben wasn't even going to dwell on the fact that this man seemed to know what Ben had not said out loud to anyone. And that was that he was looking for the voice inside his head that he knew was calling him to the dark side. The power you have, the anger, and most importantly, the stench of desperation. I've experienced all of those firsthand, and, well, the one you're looking for seems like the easiest solution, but he's not, the man responded. "Tell me who you are," Ben demanded. As if the man didn't hear, he continued. "Let me guess, you found yourself with a frustratingly mysterious mentor, or, who am I kidding? I know what you are. You found yourself with a Jedi Master who doesn't tell you what you want to hear." Astounded, Ben again demanded for the man's name. The man finally acknowledged that Ben had asked a question. He laughed and introduced himself. "I'm Ezra Bridger. You and I have more in common than you might realize. I know you. My master abandoned me in search for you. She left with a Mandalorian woman. She left me alone when I needed her the most," Ben cried. "So they are looking for me," Ezra trailed off. Ben couldn't tell if he was talking to him or making a note of something to himself. After a brief pause, Ezra looked at Ben. "So what's your name?" "Ben." "Ben Solo," Ben replied. "Solo? Never heard the name. So you're a Jedi?" he asked casually. "I was. Not anymore, though." "Ah, so you're trouble. Been there. Look, I know your master. She didn't abandon you. She just has terrible luck leaving when she's needed most." Ben grunted. "Well, this is an obvious crime scene. You laid waste to a whole gang of Transdoshans. This place will be swarming with security soon. Come, you can stay with me." Ben followed Ezra back to his place. It was a small place above a mechanic shop. Ezra began to explain his story. He explained that the last time he saw any of his old friends was in a battle against the Empire, on a planet called Lothal. He was launched into the unknown regions with an enemy called Thrawn. Ezra didn't know what happened to Thrawn, because by the time he had come back to consciousness, he was alone. He explained that it took him months to find his way out of the unknown regions, and even then, he couldn't remember who he was or where he came from. After explaining to Ben that he finally found his way to a small spaceport in the Outer Rim, he said that his memory was beginning to return to him in flashes. However, it would be a few years before he could even remember specifics about his past. During this time, he picked up work where he could. And eventually he did remember who he was, but at that point he had given up. There was no point in going back. The war was over. His friends probably forgotten or dead. So he stayed here. Ben spent several weeks with Ezra. Ezra told him about battles he was a part of in the Galactic Civil War. He told of his master Kanan and Kanan's sacrifice. After a few weeks, Ezra even began to teach Ben. Despite his own formal training being cut short, Ezra was forced to rely on the Force. When he was lost in the unknown regions, he had nothing else. Ezra taught Ben balance. He knew the frustration of a mysterious master. He knew the temptation of the dark side. He could see so much of his younger self in Ben. Hey, they even related on the fact that their parents were both rebels. This was a chance for redemption. Ezra had to save Ben from the dark. Meanwhile, the trail seemed to have gone cold for Ahsoka. Ben was seen leaving in a maintenance speeder, so that would mean that if he had gotten off planet, which she was sure he did, he had to have taken public transport or stole something. Either way, he couldn't have gotten too far. It had been a long time since Ahsoka felt this lost. She had failed her Padawan. She failed another Skywalker. What she would do for some words of wisdom from Anakin or even Obi-Wan. Oh, how long ago that time was. As if on cue, the dark cockpit of her ship was filled with a blue glow. Hello, Snips.